Today I'm going to talk about Rethinking Recycling. Rethinking Recycling is the first program created by McKinsey.org, an NGO founded by McKinsey and Company 3 years ago, approximately. And Rethinking Recycling, it's all about empowering every community to build green, inclusive, and economic recycling systems. So where are we working today with this purpose of Rethinking Recycling? We started 3 years ago working in Barrio Mujica. Barrio Mujica is an informal settlement at the core of Buenos Aires city that was in the middle of a process of integrating into the city and redefining its whole waste management system. So it was the perfect opportunity to include recycling on organics into their waste collection system. We have been working for around a year with the city of Olavarria with the same purpose. Olavarria is a mid-sized city, like 4 hours away from Buenos Aires. Then we're working also in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we started working with one village, and then we expanded this approach through an academy-style process in which we trained every village to do this, what we learned at work in the initial village we tried. Of these 3 projects, today we're going to focus on the first one, that is ATR, a todo reciclado. And I'm going to share this project through 3 stories we encountered in our 3 years working here in Barrio Mujica. So the first story I'm going to share with you, it's about Silvia. Silvia is one of the 40,000 people living in Barrio Mujica. And she's contributing to the 30% of people who already separate their waste in 3: organics, recyclables, and mixed waste. How does this translate to numbers and to actually comparing to other cities? So if you can imagine, there's a few US cities that reach this average participation rate of 30%, and we achieve this in less than a year. This translates into 17 tons of waste every month, increasing the income of the more than 300 waste workers responsible for the cleanliness in Barrio Mujica. So how did we achieve these recycling rates? We essentially applied 3 basic behavior change levers. First of all, information. We told every neighbor, door to door, not only how to recycle, but why it was so important for the community and for the planet. We gave them an informational magnet so that they could place this in their fridge, so that they could be reminded every day on what we told them in this first visit with the waste workers. We also applied material incentives through an approach we call Recycle for Your Kid. What this means is that we gave equipment only to the neighbors that tried recycled at least once. This equipment, after triggering initially the behavior, became a key lever for choice architecture. We were making it easier for neighbors to recycle every day by giving them this hook where they could hang their waste, giving them a reusable bag for their recyclables, and organics bin for their organics. Also, this hook was translated into a tool of social influence, because you could see who had tried recycling for the first time, who was actually recycling now, and the people that really cared that their community was clean and that the planet was safer. This model was proven to be very successful. However, we soon realized that there was a lot of audiences that we were not targeting specifically, and that translated into a lot of untapped potential. We saw this in audiences like the waste workers. If they became really change agents of what they were doing, they were our channel to the community. This happened in the over 1,500 shops, community meal centers, restaurants that were the core of the community too. It happened in multi-unit housing, international organizations like McDonald's, banks, supermarkets that were surrounded the community, and obviously in the government offices that were the touch point of the community with the official part of the program. So this takes me to the second story of today, that it's Karen. Karen is one of the waste workers that was with us from the beginning of the program, co-creating from the name to every one of the initiatives. And she actually came with us to see the Pope last year to present all of the work, which was an amazing experience both for us and for her. All of the waste workers in the community are organized in 15 cooperatives that were very territorial. They did not work together at the beginning, and through the program, they have been united with the same purpose, and they now work together in one sorting center in one program. Also, we can see here in the image in the right, Daisy. Daisy is part of our team of change agents. They are people from the community hired by McKinsey.org to help us coordinate the work in the ground, to help us translate our ideas to the reality of the community, and that, of course, have been part of the program from the beginning too. Apart from training these waste workers, we had to think how could we help them become the communicators and the change agents of the program. First was information, but not only speaking to them on how to recycle and how they should do the work from now on, it was also about role playing, about getting them to try to speak to the community, giving them the trust to go beyond just telling some facts, giving feedback to each other to see how they could do it better. It was also about emotional appeals. It was about coaching. We had access to over 350 waste workers that happened to be in very vulnerable situations sometimes. And we wanted to help them develop both professionally and personally. We also wanted to motivate them to create something big. So we took them to model sorting plans to see what the program could evolve into. As McKinsey.org, we, of course, collect a lot of data to see if our program was being successful, but we were not giving the data back to the cooperatives to see how they were performing. What we did was meet with them, see what kind of data was important for them, and we discovered a lot of behavior change levers that they were interested in. For example, peer pressure. They love to be compared with their peers, with other cooperatives, with other shifts, even inside the cooperative, to see that what they were doing. So we created a ranking for them to see how they were doing. We compared themselves to past months, to records they beat, so that they could see their performance not only in bold numbers, but also comparing to other things that they already knew. This is our last story today. This is Hilda. Hilda is a shop owner, and she's also the mother of one of our change agents. And as Hilda, there's many others, shops, restaurants, community meal centers. And how do they differ from a normal household, so that we could think how to change the approach for them? So for these people work 24/7. So efficiency both in time and space is key. Also, they see themselves, and they actually are the true pillars of this community. People that work every day 24/7. They have helped transform the community into what it is today, into a productive ecosystem that is every day more and more integrated into the Buenos Aires city. So how could we change this into our advantage so that we could get a lot more of recovered materials, but also help them be promoters of our program, as they were there for the community, they were trusted, they were there 24/7. So we used emotional appeals that specifically applied to this audience. We talked to them about how this was increasing the wages of waste workers, how this was going to a sorting plant that was inside the community and not far away. We also influenced choice architecture, because at the beginning we were giving them the household kit that was quite small. They were using it until their limit, and then they used the mixed waste bin. By only changing the small part of giving them bigger materials, we help them recycle double or triple what they were doing at the beginning. We also used social influences. As I said before, they were a key pillar in the community. They were trusted. People have their own shops where they go every day. So if we became really present here with information, not only on how, but on why to recycle, as I said in the beginning, and also if we make them reference points where they could, for example, ask for the recycling kit, they could really see how they were being key for the program and actually become more involved with it. We don't want to stop here. We want to take our program to the next level, not only in the barrio, but in the rest of the city. So our next steps are going to be first working with schools. We know kids are a fundamental part of every program, and we want to incorporate our program into their education, into the schools in the barrio, to be our change agents for now and for the future, and this force of change that kids can really be. We want to work with international organizations that are more and more coming to this neighborhood as it integrates into the rest of the city. We're talking about banks. We're talking about restaurant chains like McDonald's. We're talking about supermarket chains. How can they be part of this change that we're truly getting to in the community? We are also talking about government offices, about them becoming another touch point of the program in the community. We're talking also about adapting our approach to multi-unit housing that has started to grow in the community and can be our lever to go into the rest of the city, where you can more often see these multi-unit housing styles. We're talking with the Buenos Aires city government to expand this project so it can help transform other informal settlements in the city. And why not go to the rest part of the formal city? We are the first neighborhood in Buenos Aires city to source separate their waste in 3, which is a huge achievement. And we would like to see this happen in the rest of the city, and why not the rest of the world.